Hello everyone, this is Professora Sidebottom. In this video, we will talk about comparisons and superlatives in Spanish. First, let's start with comparisons of equality. In a comparison of equality, we state that something is the same as something else, someone is the same as someone else, or that actions are the same. For example, as tall as smart as important as, or for actions, works as hard as, runs as fast as, etc. And now let's see how do we form the comparisons of equality. We will start with adjectives and adverbs. For adjectives and adverbs, we follow this formula. First term of comparison plus verb plus tan plus adjective or adverb plus como plus second term of comparison. And here we have two examples. Luisa es tan inteligente como María. Luisa is as smart as María. Luis come tan rápido como su hermano. Luis eats as fast as his brother. As a reminder, adjectives describe nouns while adverbs describe verbs. Now let's talk about comparisons of equality with nouns. We follow this formula: first term of comparison plus conjugated verb plus tanto, tanta, tantos, tantas, depending on the noun plus como plus second term of comparison. And here are some examples. Rafael tiene tanto dinero como su hermano. Rafael has as much money as his brother. Now we have tanto because dinero is a masculine singular noun. Rafael tiene tantos libros como su hermano. Rafael has as many books as his brother. Here we use tantos because libros is a masculine plural noun. Rafael tiene tanta energía como su hermano. Here we use tanta because energía is a feminine singular noun. Rafael has as much energy as his brother. And finally, Rafael tiene tantas maletas como su hermano. We use tantas here because the word maletas is a feminine plural noun. Rafael has as many suitcases as his brother. Notice that all of these examples follow the formula mentioned before. And finally, here we have the comparisons of equality for verbs. The formula for verbs is first term of comparison plus verb plus tanto como plus second term of comparison. And here we have two examples. Rafael estudia tanto como Armando. Rafael studies as much as Armando. Rafael quiere estudiar tanto como Armando. Rafael wants to study as much as Armando. Notice that we can have one verb or two verbs. And if the statement has two verbs, we conjugate them as usual, as in the first one is conjugated, the second one stays in the infinitive, and then we add the tanto como. Next, let's talk about comparisons of inequality. In a comparison of inequality, we state that something is different than something else, or someone is different than someone else, or their actions are different. For example, taller than, smarter than, more important than, less important than, more generous than, less generous than, worse than. Or when we talk about actions, works more than, studies less than, studies more than, etc. Now let's talk about comparisons of inequality for nouns. We use the following formula. First term of comparison plus conjugated verb plus más or menos plus noun plus que plus second term of comparison. And here are two examples. Antonio toma más clases que yo. Antonio takes more classes than me. Yo tomo menos clases que Antonio. I take less classes than Antonio. If we look at the second statement, yo is the first term of comparison and Antonio is the second term of comparison. Now we have the menos, which is less, and the noun, which is classes. Next, let's talk about comparisons of inequality for adjectives and adverbs. For adjectives and adverbs, we use the following formula. First term of comparison plus conjugative verb plus más or menos plus adjective or adverb plus que plus second term of comparison. And here we have four examples. Antonio es más generoso que Alejandro. Antonio is more generous than Alejandro. Ellos son menos generosos que nosotros. They are less generous than us. Ana corre más rápido que María. Ana runs faster than María. El taxista maneja menos rápido que Ana. The taxi driver drives slower than Ana. Notice the adjectives are in green and the adverbs are in blue. Now let's talk about comparisons of inequality for verbs. For verbs, we use the following formula. First term of comparison plus conjugative verb plus más que or menos que plus second term of comparison. Here are some examples. Mi hermana estudia más que yo. My sister studies more than me. Juan habla menos que Manuel. Juan talks less than Manuel. Ellos van de vacaciones más que nosotros. They go on vacation more than us. With numbers, we use de instead of que. Hubo menos de 10 invitados en la fiesta de anoche. There were less than 10 guests at the party last night. Leímos más de 30 libros en un año. We read more than 30 books in 1 year. Nos quedan menos de $50. We have less than $30 left. Next, let's talk about irregular comparisons in Spanish. When we use irregular comparisons, instead of más or menos, we use the irregular form plus que. And here are some examples. Este libro es mejor que el otro. This book is better than the other one. Esta película es peor que la otra. This movie is worse than the other one. Estos alimentos son peores que los otros. These foods are worse than the others. Mi abuelo es mayor que mi abuela. My grandfather is older than my grandmother. Mi hermana y mi hermano son menores que yo. My sister and my brother are younger than me. And now let's talk about superlatives. In English, some examples of superlatives are the best, the worst, the nicest, the smartest, etc. The formula for superlatives is el, la, los, or las, plus noun, plus más or menos, plus adjective. And here are some examples. Este es el café más sabroso del país. This is the tastiest coffee in the country. Es el peor restaurante de la ciudad. It's the worst restaurant in town. Julio es el más alto de la clase. Julio is the tallest in class. Es la mejor película que he visto. It's the best movie that I have seen. Mi sobrina recién nacida es la menor de nuestra familia. My newly born niece is the youngest in our family. The same words that are irregular in comparisons are also irregular in superlatives, like the best, the worst, the oldest, the youngest, etc. Here are some examples. Este es el mejor libro de la biblioteca. This is the best book at the library. Este almacén vende las mejores marcas de ropa. This store sells the best brands of clothing. Esta es la peor película que vimos. This is the worst movie that we saw. Estos alimentos son los peores para tu salud. These foods are the worst for your health. Mi abuelo es el mayor de nuestra familia. My grandfather is the oldest in our family. Ana es la menor de sus hermanas. Anna is the youngest of her sisters. The other form of the superlative is called the superlative absolute. We use it to say the best ever, the worst ever, or super bad, super good, extremely good. We form the superlative absolute by taking an adjective, dropping the final vowel, and then we add isimo, isima, isimos, or isimas. Like in malo, malísimo, malísima, malísimos, malísimas. Esta canción es malísima. This song is super bad, extremely bad. Bueno becomes buenísimo, buenísimo, buenísima, buenísimos, buenísimas. Los tacos fueron buenísimos. The tacos were the best ever. Rápido, rapidísimo, rapidísima, rapidísimos, rapidísimas. Voy a llevarte al aeropuerto rapidísimo. I'm going to take you to the airport super fast. Also, a super polite way to say thank you in Spanish is muchísimas gracias, like thanks a million. Thank you for your attention. I hope this video helped you understand the comparisons and the superlatives in Spanish. Hasta la próxima.